Do you ever dream? Serious question. Do you remember your dreams? Do you dream and then wake up and then they're all gone? Do you wake up and write down your dreams? As soon as you wake up, write down your dreams. Any images that you can recall. What are they? What are your dreams? The reason why I ask this is because reality, our waking reality, my waking reality, yours, are nothing but dreams. They're hyper-realistic ones, or what we decide hyperrealism is based off of our own individual experiences. And those experiences that we base our dreams off of are also dreams themselves. And I'm not trying to be like, I'm not trying to be like voodoo magic or whatever. What I mean is, take a long, hard look at yourself in the mirror, and you will realize that there's a person staring back at you. There's a person there. Your eyes are connected to your brain. Your eyes are part of your brain. When you're looking at someone in the eye, you're looking straight into their mind. So when you're looking at yourself in the mirror, you're looking at your own mind. But it's obscured. It's not real. You're seeing a mirror image of it. That's why when people talk about being reflected, or when they reflect in journals, what are you doing really? You're just writing your thoughts on a paper. You're transferring your thoughts to a piece of paper into written form. Well, then you have to ask, what is language? Is language just thoughts? Is it the transfer of thoughts? No, I know that this probably seems very rambly and like, what are you talking about? But what I really mean to discuss here is what is our concept of real? I've been feeling a lot of derealization in recent weeks, months. Nothing feels real. I said this in my last video. But everything is real. Are all things real? Because when I look at myself in the mirror, I see a person there. But I also see a body, a piece of meat. I see a piece of meat that's animated by electrical impulses. I see a person who has to take drugs every day to feel slightly normal. Normal. Like that word has any meaning itself. Because it's relative. Our idea of what is real and what is normal is completely relative. And by extension, everything, our individual truth and our collective truth, our societal one, is completely up in the air. And when I say drugs, I don't mean like recreational stuff. But, you know, if you think about it, but like what's really the difference between someone who takes Ativan every day or takes heart medication every day or who takes, you know, psych meds, SSRIs, who smokes weed every day, who takes kava or whatever. People who drink coffee every day, they're on drugs. It's an addiction. It's an addiction that society promotes, among many addictions that society promotes. Addiction to any substance that can be produced cheaply in large quantities, mass produced. It is something that can be sold on a market, manufactured. Our thoughts and emotions are dictated by the substances that we put into our bodies on a daily basis. Would you really feel like you could go to your job every single day if you didn't smoke weed in the morning or drink alcohol at night or drink a cup of coffee multiple times a day, multiple cups of coffee? There are people who go and get coffee like every single day. That is normal. That's not a surprising thing for me to tell you. Chances are, statistically speaking, chances are you are somebody who drinks coffee every day or tea, because caffeine is a naturally occurring, highly addictive substance. It tricks your brain into thinking that you're not tired. And the development of capitalism has ensured that the human species is addicted to as many substances as possible. And addiction can happen not just from chemically induced substances. It can be emotional. It can be spiritual. It can be technological. Your phone that you're watching this video on, or your TV, or your laptop or something. These are extensions of our brain. Books are extensions of our brains. Back to how we were discussing how language is just an extension of your inner thoughts. A book is a great example of somebody writing something and then you picking it up and reading it 100 years later and getting the kind of the gist of what that person was trying to say or what they were thinking at the time that they wrote it. That's amazing. That is a technological marvel, the written word. And I feel like we kind of take it for granted nowadays. I think that people have replaced the primacy of reading for the primacy of the vegetative scrolling that we get into. You go on TikTok or one of the many other apps that exist, and you have people creating content like this video that you're watching right now. I mean to draw attention to it because not all of it is healthy for you. Not all of it is good for you. Not all of it is produced with you in mind. A lot of it is produced for someone's selfish satisfaction. But paradoxically, dialectically, one creates content so that they may produce a substance that others can view and become addicted to. You guys out there who can't go to sleep without putting on a video game speedrun or some video, some podcast, something really long, like multiple hours long, so you just hear sounds. This is me projecting because I do that. I do that myself. But we produce things. The internet is this creation by the United States military that became widely useful and innovative for the global economy, not just for business, though primarily so, but also for cultural exchange, cultural diffusion, social progress. Because now I can go online and talk to somebody who lives in Japan or Brazil or someone in Africa. Someone in Africa can post a video on Instagram and get 1 million hits because the algorithm is designed in such a way that we feel like we have no control over anything. You know? Like, you put up a video, it might get 4 views, it might get 40 views, it might get 400, it might get 4,000, it might get 4 million. And there are statistical trends that determine these things, because the algorithm in recent years has also become a vehicle for language detection and voice recognition. All part of the AI bubble that we're in. Because AI, you know, when you talk to your phone and you go, "Hey Siri," and Siri says yes, you're like, "I want to go to the store." And they're like, "Okay, here's a store that's close to you." That your voice is being recorded. When you call the doctor, your voice is being recorded, someone else's voice is being recorded. And AI voice models take whatever they can get. They'll take your voice. The government already has your voice saved. The United States government already has your voice saved in some sort of file, and it's being constantly updated because we're under constant surveillance. And that surveillance has only expanded. You know? There's a reason why there have been studies that have shown that people who have schizophrenia in Western capitalist countries feel like they're constantly being watched. Like there's somebody out to kill them, that there are voices telling them to hurt themselves and to hurt other people. While people who have schizophrenia or schizophrenic symptoms in underdeveloped third world countries, or even in, like, you know, primitive societies, if I'm going to use that word, or more spiritual societies, let's say. The voices that a schizophrenic individual will hear there are voices of their loved ones or their ancestors or just beneficial, benevolent ones that tell them good things. There's an inherent paranoia in our modern society. And it's both extremely easy to pin down where that comes from and also extremely difficult to define it narrowly because it's a lot of things. It's the surveillance state. It's the capitalist state that monitors you. It's these private social media companies that bombard you with videos of people talking or doing things. It's the fact that we all have a phone. We all have some sort of cellular device that is recording you visually or over audio. Even when your phone is turned off, the government can activate a device inside of your phone that can listen to your voice, and it can track you, your location, even when it's turned off. And we're conditioned now by the technological advances that have happened around us and what is profitable by large companies to always have one with us at all times. Always have your phone on you. Before we all had cell phones, there was GPS in your car. And your car has a license on it and a registration and insurance, and you have to buy gas routinely along the road whenever you travel. Our credit system is always monitoring you. Every transaction, if you pay for something on your card, on your little plastic piece of money that you have, with your imaginary money that's put into an account that some bank controls, or a credit union or whatever you want to call them, all of your transactions are monitored, and your bank can shut down your access to your money at any point, at any moment that they feel like it. If they think that, oh, it's very out of the ordinary, it's out of the pattern for this person who is usually in Kentucky to go over to New York and purchase something there, the bank will see that transaction and say, that doesn't look safe. That might be fraud, or that might be identity theft. And so they lock your card. Which, there's reasons for that, because identity theft is a real thing. And that alone, that phrase, identity theft, is really, really interesting to me, because it's not your identity. It's not you. No one stole who you are. But in a sense, they did steal who you are. They took your purchasing ability and applied it somewhere else physically, because that's what you are. You're a number. You are a person, no more. You are a number. You are a consumer. You are a purchasing point. Your identity is how you buy things. It's how you present yourself through the things that you buy. Your books, your glasses, your computer, your phone, everything. Because before we had all of this, we had looms. We had cobblers, craftsmen, artisans, people who would make things, people who would make stuff and then sell it, people who could create something in their own workshop and then sell it. Because you got to put food on the table, and you buy that food from a market, or you would buy it from a farmer who has produced it on their own land. And back when we had slavery, which we still technically do have slavery in the United States, it's not the same sort of chattel slavery, but it's pretty close with the private prison system. People owned slaves. People were who are now people were once at some point in history not people. Or rather, they were people that could be bought and sold on a market. They were commodified. Their identity didn't matter because they were an object. And essentially, nothing has changed. The way that it's expressed and the way that it's manifested has changed. The economic elements have changed. But some core aspects of that have not changed. You still go to work. You work at your job. You do what your boss tells you to do. You work for a measly wage where your labor is exploited. And you get this much back in return because the government has to tax your employer. They have to tax you when you buy things. Our labor is constantly being siphoned all towards a point at the top. And this is part of what I mean where I feel like nothing's real. Your labor isn't even your own. Your labor isn't real to you. Your labor is very real to the people that employ you and to the government and the larger economy. Economics is all social interactions, social science. And if someone wants to tell you that economics is not a social science, they're dead wrong. Because we made the rules to begin with. If your identity is nothing but the object that you represented through objects on your person, in your home, online, it doesn't matter if you die. It doesn't matter if you are sold into slavery. You're a commodity regardless. It's just a matter of degrees. How commodified are you? I recently watched the Terror of Mechagodzilla, Toho, 1975. I saw it on YouTube. I used to watch Godzilla movies all the time as a kid growing up. I still find them really charming. I recently watched it, and I was kind of reminded of how silly some of those movies are. Like, if you really think about it, it's a bunch of guys in big suits destroying miniature buildings with fake explosions and smoke and sound effects and toy boats in water. And then they splice it, intercut with like actual human beings, people like acting, you know? I mean, there were people in the suits, but like it's, you know, it's not supposed to be people. It's the giant monster. So you're supposed to be sold on the scale of things. And it's art. It's really fun art. And I think art is such a dynamic thing. And I think I'm in the process of writing an essay on art in general. I'm also going to talk about Rashomon, the story written by Kutagawa, and the film written and directed, film directed by Akira Kurosawa. Because Rashomon is a story about how untrustworthy human experience is and human testimony. And it's really fascinating. I'm probably going to start writing more film analyses. Because it's one of those things that I'm really passionate about. I love film. I love art. I love music. I love acting. I love all of these things. And I feel like I don't talk about all of that nearly enough on this channel. So why am I stopping myself? Why am I imposing limitations upon myself to only talk about politics, to only talk about economics or current events or history? Well, I guess to me, all these things are really, really interconnected. They're all layering on top of each other. They're all interwoven. And sometimes it's really hard to separate them from each other. Sometimes it's hard to separate politics from history, from art, because it's all the humanities, I guess. Even economics. Economics are humanities. There's a strong mathematical, statistical component to it, but without the human, what do you have left? You just have numbers. You have resources, and you have geopolitics. But geopolitics are also social. So it's impossible for me to separate all these things. And I'm curious about how you feel about all these different topics. How do you separate them to you personally? How do you find ways to enjoy one? How do you find ways to enjoy one sliver of what we call life? How do you find ways to ignore lots of other things? Is it just your personal experience? Is it your own life and unique experiences that you have, your own memories that determine what it is that you become fixated on? I don't know. Share me your thoughts. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.